lovers of horror and the macabre to this auction. If you are here to place bids or just to enjoy and wallow in the misery of others, you are all welcome. We have some interesting lots for you tonight, and the first up, something that I hope you're not afraid of clowns. For this is the remains of a clown doll. And I'm going to tell you the story of how this, all the remains of this, became in this collection. And perhaps it may affect your bidding. Let us tell the story of Jill. Jill had a brand new babysitting job at the posh end of town, away from all the usual annoying kids and parents. She was excited. If this worked, she was on a perfect job. Turning up at the house, the mother of the objective for tonight opened the door and let her in. They're off on a date night and had planned everything perfectly. As Jill was dragged to sit in front of the TV with Kate, the cutest little 8-year-old girl, so sweet, to watch cartoons. The mother explained the layout. The kitchen was over there. Jill was welcome to have anything should she like, or if she'd rather, next to the phone by the front door is some money and a pizza menu. No problem. They were going to go off. She'll phone a bit later just to check on things, to make sure things are okay before they go in for their meal. And they depart, leaving Jill snuggled up with Kate, watching Kate's favourite cartoons. Jill thinking, this is so perfect. She's getting paid and free food, and they're paying for the food. Brilliant. Well, the cartoons roll on for a good hour. And suddenly, Kate decides it's time for bed. It's a bit early. Jill checks to make sure she's okay, and Kate reminds her she is a big girl. She can go to bed when she wants. Jill's happy with that. She asks if Kate wants some tucking in or bedtime story. Kate again reminds her, big girl, don't need those things. And Jill watches it with amusement as Kate trundles upstairs and heads to bed. Jill settles back, changing the cartoons over to some other, flicking through the channels looking for something to watch. She finds a rom-com she's not seen for a while. That'll do. Now to try and decide what to eat. She's about to wander into the kitchen when she hears footsteps rung across the landing upstairs. She waits. A door slams. Then running steps again, another door slam. Loo rum. Actually, Jill thinks, no, forget it. They're paying for the menu. Let's have some pizza. She sits on the sofa, flicking through the pizza menu. It's not long, and then the silence is split by an ear-piercing scream. Jill swears. In shock, she doesn't even run around the sofa. She jumps over it and pouts it up the stairs, bursting into the bedroom to see Kate sat up in bed, sobbing her eyes out. Well, what's wrong, Kate? What's wrong? Now, if you know little kids, when they're in that kind of state, they do that kind of half mumbling, snotty filled thing, you can barely get anything out of it. Well, it takes a while for Jill to calm Kate down. And Kate explains, it's Billy. Billy is annoying her again. He wants to play, but Kate wants to go to sleep. Jill looks confused. She wasn't aware of any pets in the house. Cats, dogs. She looks around confused in the half light of the bedroom. Well, where's this Billy? She asks. And Kate points to the far corner of the bedroom. Jill wanders over, and then she sees it. On a still, slowly rocking chair sits a child-sized clown doll. It looks hideous. She picks it up, wondering, fine. She opens the wardrobe, throws it in, says, there you go, Kate. He's away. He's not going to bother you now. Kate settles down and goes back to sleep. Jill returns back to the sofa and looks through the menu. Got it. Double pepperoni, no problem. She goes to the phone, phones it, dials it through, places the order, and returns back to the sofa to watch the film. Well, everything is calm for about 5 minutes. And another scream. This time, Jill does not run up the stairs. She takes her time, goes into the bedroom and finds Kate once again sat up sobbing. This time, Billy is on the end of the bed. Jill is not happy with this. This was going to be a nice, quiet evening. Kate once again moans, Billy wants to play. Now, Jill thinks Kate's probably messing with her. But Kate is adamant that she did not take Billy out of the wardrobe. Jill was not having any of this. If Kate wants to play mind games with her, so be it. She can play mind games too. She's an experienced babysitter. She takes Billy and tells Kate she will take Billy downstairs with her and keep an eye on him. Kate is happy with that and once again settles off and goes to sleep. Walking down the stairs with Billy, Jill is looking at this really hideous clown thing. She finds a pull cord on the back and pulls it. There's a really unpleasant giggle and a voice. It's like, do you want to play a game? It's horrible. Why would parents let a kid have such a thing as this? It's gonna cause nightmares. But if Kate is gonna mess with her, I'd like to see her have a go now. Jill returns to the sofa, throws Billy over onto the sofa chair on the other side of the room, next to the TV, so she can keep an eye on it. She'd like to see Kate have a go now. Calm restored. She's enjoying her film once again. 15, 20 minutes. The doorbell goes. Jill jumps. She didn't realise she was on edge so much. But she goes to the door. Ah, pizza. Pays the guy. Turns around to return to the sofa. At that point, she almost drops the pizza. Billy has gone. In fact, he's gone from where he was sitting to where she was sitting on the other side of the sofa. Now, she didn't see Kate come in. That's one sneaky little girl. She puts the pizza down and has a little quiet look around. No sign of Kate. Oh, she's a cunning one. She's about to go up to the bedroom when the phone rings. She returns to the front door. The caller ID says Mum Mobile. Ah, the check-in call. She picks it up. Yes, yeah, the mother there. It's fine, they're just checking in, asking how everything's going. Yeah, well, Jill says, you know, it's fine, but she just has to cover herself should Kate bring this up later. She does want a repeat job. She mentions Kate was having a nightmare. Oh, the mother's a little bit concerned about that. Yeah, it's this Billy doll. It's causing her nightmares. The relaxed conversation turns icy cold. Billy, the mother says. Clown doll. Yeah, Jill replies. Yeah, it was a clown doll. Big thing. Right, Jill. Listen very, very closely. Billy is bad news. Really bad news. Whatever you do, do not take your eyes off Billy. But go upstairs, wake Kate up, and leave the house immediately. We are coming home. The line then goes dead. Jill's a little bit wound up by this. You know, it was bad enough with Kate messing with her head, but the mother now, they're all crazy. She stares blankly at the phone, bemused by the whole situation. And then she hears something in the kitchen. Gotcha now, Kate. She puts the phone down and wanders towards the kitchen door. It's at that point she notices something. Around the door frame, scrawled in smeared pizza topping, are the words, "You hide and I shall find you." Okay. Everything goes quiet. The lights click off. And then she hears something that she's already heard once. Do you want to play a game? I'm coming to find you, Jill. Jill swears. I fucking hate clowns. Well, before it gets too scary, I shall leave that story there. Now, what do we have bids for this relic of a scary day? Or a scary night even, for a babysitter who never quite finished her job. Right, we've got 100 over there, 200 there, 300, 350, sold to that scary skeleton at the back. Now, for the next wonderful story, or item I should say, you're here for the items, the auction, not quite the story, but you're getting both. What have we got? Ah, Toby. Now, this poor hand was all that was left of Toby. Alas, poor Toby. I didn't know him, but I did know his story. I do know his story, and I'm glad I didn't know Toby. And I'm sure you won't know like Toby when you hear his story and how all that his hand remains here. Let us first refresh the whistle. So Toby. Toby's story begins or ends at a nightclub. The music was thumping. The people were dancing. But Toby and his mates weren't there for the music. They were there for the visual part. To ogle and leer at all the nice young, scantily clad ladies that frequented the sweaty, thumping music. They stood at the end of the bar, drinks in hand, watching as they writhed on the dance floor, passing judgment and comments, joking and leering. Now, I'm not going to say some of the words they used. It was pretty awful. But it got worse. One young lady broke away from the crowd and went to the bar. She ordered her drink, and while she's waiting, Toby and his mates are elbowing each other, commenting, making very crude and lewd comments. She hears, "It's not hard," and walks away with her drink in disgust. Now, she wasn't the only one to hear these words, because at the other end of the bar was Phoebe and her mates. They'd been watching Toby and his bunch for ages, and as they lurked in the dark, in the shadows at the end of the bar, they had an idea of what to do about it. Phoebe broke away from her group. She walks to the middle of the bar area, stretches, looks out across the dance floor as if she's trying to find someone. She's hoping to catch their attention. It's not long until she does. And she knows, because she hears Toby whisper quite loudly to his mates, "Look, hot goth chick. I'm gonna try." She freezes, waiting for Toby, and then she feels a hot, clammy hand on her arm. She turns, and Toby's standing there just a bit too close for comfort. His beer breath in her face. She grins, waiting for him to do something. "Night out with the girls, love," he says, almost head-butting her, getting close. She looks to the girls behind her. "Yeah, something like that," she replies. She gives him another fixed look, waiting for him to say something else. Toby gets himself ready. He's going to try his only chat-up line. Never works, but it's the only one he's got. "Want to go somewhere quiet, somewhere private like, and we can get to know each other a bit better?" His face reveals his surprise when she actually says yes. Before he can even recover from that, she grabs him by the hand and drags him to the door. Toby gives thumbs up as he's being dragged past and jeers and cheers from his mates. Now, the first few words Toby says when they reach their destination are a little bit surprising, well, at least for Toby. A graveyard. We're in a fucking graveyard. Really? Phoebe looks at him and then looks around the warm, dark night. Yeah, I like it here. It's peaceful, it's quiet. No one comes here. It's very private. He gives her the look over. Yeah, it's probably your thing, innit? She nods and scans the area. She points right there. He's, again, surprised by this. A grave. You want to get busy on a grave? Are you fucking mad? She grabs him by the hand and drags him. She falls to the ground, pulling him down on top of her. Well, why not, she says, as he starts to lean in to kiss. There's a crack of a twig. Toby pulls back, looks around, but Phoebe pulls him back in again. And I say it's a kiss, but, you know, it's like an affectionate dog kind of thing. He has no technique, does Toby. There's another crack of a twig. Toby gets up, a bit concerned. He looks around into this darkness, can't see anything moving. He asks, is there anyone there? Anyone? Come out now before I come and get you. Phoebe looks at him. It's probably the wildlife. The wildlife, he says. Now, Toby's a city boy, and he's not that well cultured in pretty much anything, as you can probably tell. So, wildlife isn't really his thing. Wildlife. What? Phoebe gets up and starts dressing and saying, what are you doing? She said, this is another reason I come here, she says. The wildlife is so friendly and tame. You know, it'll feed right out of your hand if you get close enough. Come on, I'll show you. He starts to protest about, you know, wanting to get a bit busy, get his end away. He said, no, come on, let's just do this first. Then, if they're happy, we can get on with it, can't we? You can't fault that logic. And he follows her through the undergrowth to a dark, very dark corner of the graveyard. It's full of those kind of old Victorian kind of tomb crypt things where the door's always half open, half closed. It's like yearning for something to go in or something to come out. Phoebe motions for him to get down onto his knees and watch. Hold your hand out, she says. I'll give you some food. She rummages around in her handbag and pulls out a small plastic bag. Toby can't quite see what's in there, and the texture's really weird when it falls into his hands. And then he realises, this is raw meat. Fucking raw meat. Are you mental? Who carries raw meat with them? Shh. Look. By the door. Toby looks. As I said, you know, he hasn't quite grasped the concept of what nature's about. So the small bundles that are on the floor, that are sort of shuffling quite low down towards his open hands, he couldn't tell whether that was a badger or an elephant. But he doesn't care, because once this is over, he's going to get his end away. No problem. He waits. But what he doesn't see is Phoebe's expression. She's watching these bundles with a determination, with solid focus. She watches them shuffle close so slowly. She notices Toby look up to her, and she changes to a grin and grins back, and then urges him to look. The moment his eyes are off of her, her steely determination returns. Toby watches these things, whatever they are, these bundles come closer. Are they like, is that like fur or something? Can't tell. It gets close, right to his hands. And then he almost shits himself. Something lurches out of the bundle. A hand. A withered, skinned hand. It grips his wrist. He starts to panic. The other bundles are all on him. Other hands are gripping him. He looks terrified, confused. He looks up at Phoebe, who looks impassive. The bundles, although tiny, have immense strength, and he feels himself being dragged to the darkness ahead, to those crypts. Phoebe watches him disappear through the portal. She hears screams that are suddenly cut short. And when all is quiet, she brushes herself down. Well, he was a fucking lech, wasn't he? I hope the girls have got rid of the rest of the vermin. And with that, she walks away. So, my friends, the nasty, lecherous boy Toby, all we could find with a hand. Well, we hope it's his hand. It's a hand anyway. What shall we have for the bids? So, like 50 there, 60, 100, ooh, 150. I think 150 to that, whatever the hell you are over there. Thank you, folks. Right. Now, let's see, what else have we got here? We have some more. Let us go. Oh. This one is just a knife. Blood-stained knife. Well, the story about this is quite a short one. Well, we believe it's short. There's probably more to it. But from what we discern, this is what we found out. It was one foggy night. Dave and Brenda were in the car. Brenda on her mobile phone in the passenger seat, idly doom scrolling, while Dave was swearing like a trooper at the very thick fog and the country roads that he finds himself on. Brenda, why the fuck are we out middle of the night on a country road in the fog? I could be at home, or better still, asleep. And he jams the steering wheel. Another bloody pothole. So many potholes on these roads, I can't go very fast. Brenda puts the phone down, takes a deep sigh. Dave, we are here to sort out your mother. Why? It couldn't have been another time, but it is what it is. Get on with it. Dave continues the drive, ramming the car, jerking the car side to side for every single pothole on this one lane track. He can barely see a thing. Sometimes the fog lifts, sometimes it not. He rounds a corner and slams the brake on. There's a 4x4 in the middle of the road. Well, just off slightly. He thinks he can squeeze through. He's got his hazard lights on, and as he's beginning to go around it, a guy, huge guy, lurches out of the fog towards him, and Dave jams the brakes on. He winds the window down just a crack. Something don't feel right. The guy comes up to the window. "Oh mate, can you help me change the tyre on my car? I can't get the wheel off. It's stuck." Dave has a quick glance at Brenda. She thinks something's a bit odd too by her expression. "No, sorry mate," Dave says. "You know, we've got to go. I've got to go sort my mum out." Sorry. And he winds the window up and edges the car away. Once clear of the 4x4, he tries to put his foot down the best he can, considering the fog and the potholes. He has a quick look in the rearview mirror. The hulking guy is standing there. Looks like he's putting the middle finger up, and his lips are moving. He's probably swearing like a trooper too. They both let out a sigh. "Well, that was weird, wasn't it, Brenda?" Brenda agrees. "Yeah, a guy like that, big as that, couldn't get his wheel off his car. Nah, there's something weird there. I bet had we stopped and got out, he'd have had mates and they would have jumped over the banks of the sides and robbed us or something, or killed us, or done other things to us. Don't bear thinking about. Let's keep going. Put as much space, time and distance behind us." Yeah, Dave agrees. The fog is getting worse. Potholes are getting worse. Dave is having to slow down. Brenda suggests just drive in the middle of the road, away from the edges. Oh, Dave hadn't thought of that. And he puts this bit more speed up. He reckons it's like a mile, 2 miles away from that car, when the whole rear of his car lights up. The rear view mirror is like blinding, and then it resolves into like 4 or 5, 6 headlights, dazzling him. "Oh shit," Dave says. "I wonder if that's him. Was it a ruse, or has he sorted the wheel out? Are they coming for us? Shit." He tries to speed up, but he's going to wreck the car. And then what will they do? Both are beginning to panic. This is pretty scary stuff. And that 4x4 is burning along the road. It is catching up. And in a few minutes, it's right on their rear bumper. They feel a couple of nudges. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, shit. They are really beginning into panic. Dave spots a passing place ahead. "I'm going to pull in," he said. "You know, it could be all okay. He could just be trying to catch up, and because he's behind time and wants to get past." Brenda's not so happy about that, but Dave tries to think the best. He pulls in. The 4x4 almost completely passes them, but then cuts them off at the front. Shit. Dave looks at Brenda. "I'm going to get out. You get out too. If anything happens, run. Don't matter which direction, just run." She nods, her hands shaking. They both get out the car. They're quite surprised that there isn't a group. It's just this one hulking guy once again. He approaches Dave and pins him against the door at the side of his car. He holds his hands up. "Look, my hands are cut to bits." All I wanted was some fucking help changing my tyre. But no, you couldn't do that. Dave's about to reply, and the guy goes stock still and then slowly crumples to the floor. Well, that's weird, Dave thinks. And then he looks up. Brenda stood behind where Dave, this guy was. She's holding a huge kitchen knife. Brenda, what have you done? Did you just stab him? She looks at the knife as if she had never seen it in her life before. Yeah, and she drops it to the ground. Brenda, I told you to get rid of that knife ages ago. Wow, looks like I forgot, didn't I? She replies. What are we gonna do? Dave looks at the guy on the floor. Well, why don't we put him in the boot with Mum and the knife, and we can bury them all together? Good plan, says Brenda. Now that's not quite what you were thinking, was it? But anyway, that's what we found. There were some skeletons and stuff, but didn't fancy those. We'll have this. So, for this piece of nastiness, what have we got the bids for? Tenner, really? 80, oh that's a bit more like it. 90, 180. Okay, 180 to that masked guy over there. Sold. So what else have we got? We got, one more lot for you. And this one is a good one. Well, it's a bit of old rope, really. Bit of blood-stained old rope. So, you know, not massively really exciting. Not like the clown mask or Toby's hand. Is it marginally more exciting than a knife? Could be. But this rope. Something really horrific happened out in the countryside. And the rope was the only thing we found. Thankfully. So, what happened there was, much like Toby, it started and it ended in one place. Tim and Helen turned up late night at their countryside cottage. Tim is fumbling the keypad to open the safe to get the key for the door. He's swearing like a trooper, like they all have at some point today. And Helen is trying to keep him quiet. The village is in darkness. It's only 10 o'clock at night, but everybody seems to be asleep. He's urging Tim to keep it down and get inside the cottage. Well, finally, he hits the right combination, grabs the key, turns the lock, and they pile in with their bags and suitcases into a very nice modern cottage, which from the outside you wouldn't know. The outside, even though it was dark, was pretty twee. They pile in, relieved to finally make it. Especially for Helen, because all she's been getting all on the way up is Tim saying, we could have gone to Lanzarote for this. Constantly. He hasn't let up since she booked it. And off he goes again. But Tim heads to the kitchen. He finds a big fridge, opens it, finds some cans. He's happy. Well, this'll do, he says. Not quite 2 weeks in Lanzarote that we could have paid for this. Helen is about to clobber him with her handbag. Tim, for the last time, this is culture. We've gone to Lanzarote every year, but this time we're here for this late August bank holiday weekend. There's a festival. It's got lots of culture for you. Yeah. And I'm off to bed now, she says. I've had enough. Tim finishes his can. He peers out the window. Apparently, there's a hot tub on the patio. But it's total darkness. There's no lighting around here. He can't see a thing. He necks his can and joins Helen in the bedroom. The following morning is all lovely, bright and sunny. What paradise of a countryside. And they have breakfast and head into the village. Now they're on a little cottage on the edge. One side of the country road into the village, other cottages, nice and twee, quaint cottages. The other full of high, thick vegetation, crops, corn, maize, who knows. They're country people, they're city people. They wouldn't know what any of this is anyway. But that is dense. They're walking along the country road and they encounter the obligatory walker group. They wave past peasantries and continue. Helen says she'll pop into the little shop here, see what they've got. Otherwise they'll have to go to the nearest town to restock food. She points and directs Tim up the road to the pub. She can see the sign hanging up down the road. She'll meet him in there. Tim trundles on, leaving Helen to go into the little corner shop. A pub. A country pub. Tim muses. It's probably full of old bearded farmers nursing their pint of unidentifiable drink. It's going to be boring as hell. But apparently culture. Whereas if we're in Lanzarote, we could be getting pissed and having lots of fun. But anyway, he pushes open the door and is met by a complete silence. As, not surprisingly, there are a few blokes dotted around the bar, nursing their pint in total silence. Tim lets out a sigh, turns to the bar and tries to identify anything that's worth drinking. None of it is familiar. While he's musing what to do, the door behind the bar opens and Tim's eyes light up. A rather young, blonde woman comes in, gives him a big grin and asks him what does he want. He takes a few pedals of his hamsters in his head to realise that he should actually just ask for a drink and stop staring at her. Lager, he says. She gasps. They don't do lager. She'll find something and pours. She looks at him curiously. You're staying at the cottage, aren't you? Tim looks quite surprised. It's an easy thing, she says. Oh, by the way, my name's Julie. Well, you don't look like a hill walker, one of the walker groups that are around here, you know, the way you're dressed and all. And the only accommodation that we've got anywhere around here is the cottage on the edge of town, on the edge of the village. so therefore you must be staying there. Tim says fine, yeah. He asks what she's around, and yeah, she says she's back for the festival. It's a big thing for the village every year, so she's just back from uni to help out because things can get a bit mad. Tim takes the drink and starts sipping the disgusting whatever this is, and then the door for the pub opens and Helen comes in. It's quite clear she's clocked what's going on. She clears her throat, getting Tim's attention. Tim suddenly gets the gist of her expression, which isn't very nice. Sorry, love. G&T, which Julie sorts out. Helen grabs Tim's arm and takes him over to the far side of the bar, casting dirty looks back at Julie, who stares at both of them curiously. They sit down and start their drinks. A few minutes later, there's a huge noise. A whole babble of people come pouring into the pub. Helen looks up. Oh look! It's Morris dancers. Culture, Tim. Tim looks at the gaudily dressed gang. They're boisterous, laughing, joking. Hey Julie, welcome back for the festival! Yay! Can't wait! And then Julie quickly points over to the Helen and Tim. The whole Morris troupe goes silent and stares directly at these two. The hairs go on the back of their necks. Helen whispers, yeah, perhaps, you know, not a lot happens in the village that often, and we're new entertainment. A brief moment, and the Morris team reverts to their jovial response. Ordering drinks, which Julie gives them. That night, back at the cottage, Helen and Tim are in the hot tub, sipping sparkling wine that they found in the fridge. Not champagne, but hey, it's cold. And it's a nice evening. The stars are bright. Tim seems to be a bit more relaxed now. I think he's given up that this isn't Lanzarote, and you just gotta go with it. It's only a weekend. They're enjoying the peace, for it is deathly quiet, with a little bit of music in the background from the cottage. Then there's a sudden shouting, loud shouting out the front of the cottage, and then a scream. Both Tim and Helen are in shock. What the hell was that? Helen says, well, Tim, go and look. Why me, he says. Well, you're the hunky guy. You go do it. Tim puts his glass down, slides out of the hot tub, puts a towel around him and finds the flip-flops. She watches him and hears him flip-flopping around the side of the cottage, out into the night. Her ears are straining for any noise. Then she hears the flip-flopping returning, and Tim comes in to the patio holding a rucksack in his hand. I only found this, it was on the road. There was like no one there, just this in the middle of the road. As he moves into the light, Helen screams, and then Tim notices it. The backpack is covered in blood. He drops it. Utter shock. What the hell is this? Helen screams, phone the police. Tim flip-flops as rapidly as he can into the cottage, looks around. There's no phone. Where's the phone? There's no house phone. He calls for Helen to get her mobile. They both find their mobiles. No reception. Well, he's not going back out there to explore. Why don't we call this a night, he says. And we'll lock up. We'll go to the bedroom, barricade the door or whatever, and we'll wait for the morning. And then he'll go and see if he can find police or phone somewhere in the village. Helen, a bit shaken, agrees. Once again, another bright, sunny morning. Both are still shaken. Neither have slept at all well. Tim rapidly gets dressed, suggests to Helen, barricade the door when he's gone. He's going to go and see what he can find. He might go to the pub or something. He's not seen a police station. Helen raises her eyebrows. Pub? Well, yeah, they're likely to have a phone. She shrugs and curls up. I'm in bed, waiting for him to go. Tim rapidly leaves the cottage, closing the door behind him and heading into the village. As he's walking along the road, he reaches the pub. Now it's quite early, and you know, he knows licensing laws are a little bit more lax probably out in the countryside, so he's quite surprised to actually see the pub door open. He goes in. There's a stern middle-aged man standing behind the bar. He looks at Tim, and he looks at a blood-soaked rucksack that he is carrying. Tim asks, "Can we call the police?" The landlord looks a little bit startled at that, and then points across the room. Tim follows the indication and sees Julie sat at a table with a man who's evidently a walker, but he's in a right state. His clothes are torn about, his face is blooded, scratches all over it, and his eyes, wild eyes. Julie is trying to get him to hold a glass of something and put it to his lips. Julie nods as Tim approaches and holds the bag. "This was outside the cottage last night," Tim says. Julie stops struggling with the glass. "Yeah, it's probably his. I've been trying to get him to drink this, but all he keeps saying is there's something in the corn. Something in the corn, constantly, all night." He came stumbling, bashing on the door. Tim almost jumps. The landlord's standing suddenly right beside him. "Yeah, as I keep telling you, Julie, they were probably out walking. If they'd gone into that massive field of maize and got spooked and ran, you know, I don't know if you know, but running through that kind of stuff really fast, those leaves are like razor blades. They're gonna cut you up. and make you, you know, confused and scared and whatever. It's nothing. It's nothing. Tim looks at the pair of them each. Looks like you got this under control. He jumps the bag and goes to leave. At the door, on his way out, he glances. Tim and the landlord are glaring straight at him. He shrugs it off and leaves. He begins to walk back to the cottage. Oh, what a weekend. Do you know, we wouldn't have had this if we'd gone to Lanzarote. It's better there. Yeah. Would have been better going to Lanzarote than this. Culture ain't all it's made up to be. He gets back to the cottage and suddenly something don't feel right. There's pot plants smashed around the front of the door. In fact, the door's open. He very definitely closed that door. He pushes the door open slightly. Helen? Are you there? It's really just, he gets a... His stomach begins to churn. Something is very, very wrong. He crosses the threshold, goes in. Well, the rooms are all okay. Nothing's been touched. Heads to the bedroom. The bedroom door is open. He steps into the bedroom. Furniture overturned, smashed. The bed, all the covers are messed up. And there's small piles of little rope all over the bed. What the fuck has happened here? Helen? There's a noise back down the corridor behind him. He turns and carefully heads down there. He senses movement behind him and then his head. Is pain. A lot of pain, and then black darkness. Tim wakes slowly, his head throbbing, his body trying to work out the sensations around him, and his eyes are blurred. As his vision returns, he begins taking his surroundings. He sees he is in a clearing of that monstrous corn, that monstrous maze. Directly in front of him is Helen. She's tied, naked to a stake, her hands tied tight above her head, wearing a gag. She is struggling to free herself. Then Tim realises he's feeling the same. His hands are bound above his head, and he too is naked. Trying to make sense of this situation, the figure of Julie enters the field of view. She's wearing a white dress and carrying a bottle of something, a bottle of beer. She looks between the two of them. First she goes over to Helen and pulls the gag down. Helen lets out a tirade of abuse, demanding to be released. What are they doing? What's she doing to them? Let her go. The obvious things. Julie puts her hand over her mouth. Shh. Drink this. It'll help. Please, drink this. And Julie tries to get the bottle into Helen's mouth, but Helen just spits it out and hurls more abuse. Desperate, pleading to be freed. Julie totally ignores and approaches Tim, eyeing him up. She pulls Tim's gag out. "Drink this," she says calmly, looking him directly in the eyes. "Believe me, this will make things easier." "Let us go," Tim pleads. "What have we done to you? Please let us go." Julie tries to put the beer bottle to his mouth, but he refuses. Julie looks between the pair of them again. "It is so sad I didn't get a chance to get to know you two better. Believe me, this is the only way. It's either you or us." Tim shakes his head. "I don't understand." Julie drops the bottle, looking past Tim. Tim notices Helen, her eyes fixed directly behind Tim. Her eyes begin to widen, and Helen emits a high-pitched scream, and she begins to really fight against the bonds. Tim can't see behind. He's craning his neck. "What is it? What is it?" Julie looks at him. "I'm so sorry. I have to go." And she runs into the maze. Tim is struggling to look behind him as Helen fights desperately against the ropes. She is screaming, absolutely terrified. Tim is pulling, tugging hard. "What is it? What is it?" There's crashing noise behind him now. He closes his eyes. "Should have gone to Lanzarote. We should have gone to Lanzarote." It becomes his mantra. He keeps repeating it over and over again. "Should have gone to Lanzarote. We should have gone to Lanzarote. We should have gone to And that is the last words he ever says. Like I said, there wasn't much left. Just bits of bloodied rope. So, my friends, for our last lot of the day, what are your bids? Oh, 80, 90, 150. 150 from whatever you are. Thank you. And that, my friends, is the end of the auction. Thank you for coming, and see you again at the next one.